Welcome to Project Minty, Episode 4. In this episode, we take a look at controlling the cruise control. Now, if you remember from the overall plan, I want to fit cruise control to this bus. The Subaru Legacy already has cruise control, and it is controlled by the ECU. The Subaru Legacy has a drive-by-wire throttle, so the ECU modulates the throttle plate to implement the cruise control. Now, if we take a look at the wiring diagram for the cruise control, you can see that the switch is actually quite a simple affair. We've got the ground here at the bottom, then halfway up we have all the settings like the cancel, resume, accelerate, all those kind of things, and at the top we have the on-off. Now, the on-off is a simple matter. It just grounds the input coming from the ECU to tell the ECU to turn the cruise control on or off. Now, the others have resistors associated with them, and those resistors are what send different voltages to the ECU depending on the function selected. Now, my solution involves having a custom CAN bus loom, which I'm going to develop myself for controlling all the features in the bus. I've got a really cool solution for all the switchgear at the front of the van. I'm not ready to show it yet, but I'm super excited and I can't wait, so watch this space. But in the meantime, I felt that I needed to prototype some circuits. I need to prototype them so that I can then build some PCBs to make a reliable production quality solution for my van. So I designed a simple circuit that intended to replicate the cruise control buttons on the steering wheel switch. What I'm using is a Teensy. Now, a Teensy is essentially an Arduino clone, but it's a lot more powerful. In fact, the one that I've got runs at 600 MHz, which is quite a lot for such a small embedded microcontroller. I probably don't need that speed, but I really like the Teensy 4.0 because it's so powerful. And the Teensy has a number of advantages over the Arduino in that it already has the CAN transceiver on board, or at least the CAN controller on board, I'm sorry. Then it's very easy to connect it up to the CAN transceivers. Remember that CAN is Controller Area Network, and it allows us to send signals around the bus with only 2 wires, rather than individual wires going to absolutely every function. So it greatly simplifies the wiring. So this circuit switches transistors for determining the different functions of the cruise control. The on-off button is very simple. All I need to do is ground that pin of the ECU, and then the ECU knows to turn the cruise control on or off. Then the other functions, all that happens is I switch different other resistors to ground, so that gives a different resistance signal to the ECU, which the ECU measures as a voltage, and it's then able to understand what the different settings are commanded by the switch. This is my prototype circuit. I'm not going to win any prizes for my construction quality. It's just a prototype, so it doesn't need to look good, but when I build the PCBs, then things are going to look a lot better. Now, when I first built this circuit, I found that it simply didn't work. I plugged it into the plug behind the dashboard, and then when I turned the ignition on, I was quite excited that I was able to turn the cruise control on or off. But as soon as I started the engine, the cruise control lights started flashing. Now, when I originally specified the values for the resistors, I specified those by measuring the resistance of the cruise control switch on the car and then translating those into commonly used resistor values. But still, it didn't work. So I pulled my circuit apart and then just put a single overall resistor into it of the overall value, or at least resistors that added up to that value, but that still didn't work, so I was completely stumped by that. I couldn't understand what it was. I even went and measured the voltages on the pin, and they were within spec, according to the Subaru wiring diagram, and you can see that here. For example, with no buttons pressed, the voltage should be between 3.5 and 4.5 volts it was, but still the ECU didn't like it and kept flashing the cruise control light. I then disassembled the switch completely, and in there, this is a photo of the circuit board that's inside the switch. You can see the surface mount resistors on the PCB. What you can see is they're really not commonly used resistor values. So for example, this resistor here is 249 ohms. Now when you buy a resistor pack, I think the nearest value 220 ohms. I didn't think that mattered too much, but it clearly did. So what I've done is actually soldered the outputs from my transistors to the circuit board from the cruise control switch, and use my transistors to switch that. And the good news is that that works perfectly. So that's shown that I can control the cruise control using a teensy, and that means that I can have CAN input into that teensy and use that to control the cruise control. Okay, so that about wraps it up right now. A really quick video just to give you a quick update on what I've been working on. It's a little out of sequence because I've done a lot of stuff on the wiring, but really there's so much footage there that I need to cut down and edit that I thought it'd be worthwhile just posting this quick update. I've used the words control and cruise control an awful lot, but that's just the way it is. So until next time, don't forget to like this video, share it and subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out. Thanks, bye!